I know how children feel because there was one time in my life that my father, he was always there for me when I was in grade school. When I got into junior high, my father got a big job promotion, and he began to go to a lot of parties with the men in his new job, and at the parties there were, all these new women, and I remember coming home from school one day, and my little sister was outside crying, and I just, she was hysterical. And I'm not going to go into all the details of that. My father's in heaven right now, but I knew, she told me that daddy had been involved with another woman, and I was heartbroken. And the first thing that came to my mind was, how could he do this to me? I didn't even think about my mother, to be honest. I thought about me. How could he? It was like he had the affair on me, And this is how children think, because the world evolves around kids. I mean, it evolves around our own emotions. This is our world, and we're self-centered. But it becomes even worse whenever there's not a father there. Children become even more self-centered. Children become more needy, and they need more attention now that the father has left. And the sad thing is, from that moment on, because my father never sat down with me, and they tried to tell me, well, actually my mother had a nervous breakdown. It was horrible for several years in our home. Um, and every time I tried to bring it up and get them to talk about it, they denied that it ever happened. So I grew up without my dad ever sitting down and talking to me. And years later, whenever I brought it up, he still denied it. And he never once asked for me to forgive him. And I felt like I never had his blessing. I went over one day. Thank God I really pressed through and did this, because I called him on the phone, and I said, Dad, I want to come over because I want you to lay hands on me and bless me. I've never received the Father's blessing. And because, that was still there in my mind, that he didn't care enough to be honest with me. He didn't see I was hurting. He didn't, whenever I would tell him how hurt I was, he would deny it. So this is what my dad said to me. He said, Sandie, you're right. Come over. If anybody needs to be blessed, it's you. Well, I could cry again right now, because I cried all the way over there. I cried the whole time he was doing it. I don't even think he understood fully what he was doing, but I got my father's blessing, and he prayed for me, and I shifted into a place of being able to start walking into some forgiveness. So those of you that have been through anything like that, I fully understand. I had a father that lived with us, but he so many times was an absentee father to me in his emotions. And I grew up always feeling like I had to measure up and be perfect to win his love. So I had my own bouts of rejection. And this rejection I've had to overcome in my life was due to the lack of my father taking his role as a father more seriously.